Good morning, MMT. We do have a nice selection of BIDU calls that we're looking at that had made a very nice move. 140, 218, 140, 218. Intraday. Total volume yesterday, 7,500 of these calls were purchased. I'd also like to cover that the 135 calls had 4,048 contracts. Historical volume, 35.95. The low yesterday was 6.65. That's where you could have got an entry on those, and the high was 8.45. So that was your spread on those. The other calls that I really like right here, that 140, that low was 420 and the high was 556. There's still a ratio spread as long as you're at that wholesale entry level, okay? One of the things that we're going to be doing is I'm going to give a bid on an intraday level on that 140 call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right here clearly. And I'm going to put a drop down bid. Even though that BIDU stock is gapping higher, I'm still, and we were calling for this gap and this trend. It has a weekly buy signal. It's very strong, BIDU is. However, I'm going to drop these calls down to 460 on the opening bell, and I'm going to put a limit out there on 5, and I'm going to keep a stop at 420, and I would get back in again on 10 contracts at $3.70. Here live now, that's on the opening price print. That's the qualifier. Does it qualify 5 hours from now? Sorry. Time, 6:19 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Date, 2/14/2012. Opening bell before the fact. So these BIDU calls are tradable. They report earnings Thursday with that weekly buy signal in our favor, just like we did with that Google trade. Everything is on our risk management side that provides us a strong support level on the shakedowns and the pullbacks. And or we can run straight right up and test 143.80, $2, and then you'll have your intraday reversals too. But this is the yield that they give on these kind of calls. They don't give a lot because you have to have higher gaps. So what do I mean by that? So you start with the gap, and then today's prices would move these up to right around the $7.40 area. That's where the upper end of the intraday calls could go to, with this breaking higher up toward the 145 handle. Then that's going to take those calls up there. That would be a big yield. That ratio yield would be substantial. So that's the top end, and you could always start selling at 680. You could sell some at 680. Some of the contracts you would limit out at 680. Then if the trend is going to work, well, then you hold a little bit and sell up a little bit higher. Okay, that's how it's going to work on the opening bell. I'll see you in the room. Here we are now. 9 minutes to that opening bell. Put those bids down there. Okay, if they drop the bid here on the open, they would drop the bid here. And so line your entries there on BIDU. Pre-market special, pre-market earnings, trade management, how to trade BIDU or any equity going into an earnings report. How do they trade? Do they walk them all the way up to Thursday and the trend just continues to break higher? We'll find out. Or do they sell them down going into the earnings? And what is the mechanical processes and what is the sentiment processes? There are a lot of variable factors involved. However, it's that price volatility that this Chinese search engine stock, they say they've been increasing revenues in their advertising model. That's what they've been saying. So when BIDU goes higher, we're also going to be looking at this 135 put. This is the one we're going to look at for the earnings. And we would like to get in these 135 puts right here at about, let's say, 45 cents. That's the retail public price. They mark these puts down, but we would like to get that 135 put. If this breaks higher going into earnings, well, they're going to take premium out of here. But that's the lower end of the market. But on an intraday level, I'm going to put a bid out here at $1.20 and get an entry, and then sell back at $1.90 and take my 70 penny yield on 10 contracts, make my $700. That's a special preview of BIDU, and BIDU's earnings will be out Thursday after the closing bell.